Well, what's happening? I'm Logan. Welcome to my home kitchen. I'm going to show you a homemade taco sauce that not only is it delicious, it's also incredibly easy to make. There's 7 ingredients for the sauce. I have jalapeños for a little bit of heat, right? Bell peppers, tomatillos. We have 1 yellow sweet onion. I'm going to end up using a whole head of garlic because I love garlic. Now some ground cumin. I'm going to end up toasting in the oven for a couple of minutes. Toasting the spice is going to really help liven it up and just develop the flavor even more. You know what I mean? And then I'm going to use 1 cup of white distilled vinegar and then adjust consistency with a little bit of water, salt, and pepper. That's it. So jalapenos, of course, are a little bit milder pepper. They sit around 5,000 on the Scoville heat unit. If you want to really kick up the spice level on your sauce, obviously you could substitute serrano peppers. Serrano peppers sit around 10,000 on the Scoville heat unit, so they're about double the spice level as a jalapeno. So we're going to get a lot of flavor out of the peppers and the tomatillos by roasting them off. So we're going to motor through the ingredients and just get them prepped up, ready to roast them off, and then make the sauce.
The very first thing I like to do is give the peppers a quick rinse under cold running water. As far as the tomatillos, remove that outer paper jacket that they have, and of course give them a quick rinse and let them air dry.
So I'm just cutting the top off the jalapenos. You definitely want to have a sharp knife when you're cutting up peppers of any sorts. If you're sensitive to capsaicin, then definitely wear rubber gloves on your hands. Luckily, jalapenos aren't too spicy, but if you're cutting up serrano peppers or habaneros, you definitely want to wear rubber gloves because that'll, burn your skin, right? The prep work on this is really simple. So all the things are being kept whole like this. So the only thing that I did to the jalapenos was cut off the top, right? And there's not really much to do with these bell peppers other than just, if you wanted to cut the tops off, you can, then otherwise you're just going to roast these whole just like this. As far as the onion, I actually am going to remove that outer papery layer and quarter it. I like saving my vegetable scraps, that way I could toss it in my compost bin a little bit later on in the day. As far as the garlic is concerned, I'm keeping the garlic inside the outer papery layer. That's kind of help protect it as it's roasting off. I don't want this garlic to burn, but I do want to have it softened up. All that can be composted, of course. And then just make sure that none of the garlic cloves have any kind of mold or nothing's rotten, obviously. In my area, at least the produce could be kind of spotty at best at times, so I definitely make sure that nothing's rotten, nothing's molding. Just kind of look at the ingredients that you're working with. Make sure everything's fresh, right? Seems to be kind of the norm to have ingredients, produce especially, that isn't really quite up to snuff at times. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if your area is kind of the same. Tomatillos, same thing. Just remove that outer jacket that they have, give it a quick rinse under cold running water, and then we're just gonna roast these off whole, just like that. This is a delicious taco sauce, obviously, and it has just enough spice in it that gives you that sensation, but it doesn't completely destroy your mouth. I mean, I like really spicy things, but I'm not always in the mood for something really spicy, and this sauce is really good because it has a good amount of flavor on it, and it has just enough heat that you get that sensation, you know what I mean? So very delicious sauce. I always have a backup of it in the refrigerator, and the whole point of the recipe is that A, it's really delicious, and B, it's really easy to make, and it's cheap, right?
Now we're going to put the jalapenos, the tomatillos, the onions, and the green bell peppers into a large mixing bowl.
Really want this to be as shelf stable as possible, so I'm going to go really light on the oil. Just having enough oil where the salt and pepper will stick to it, you know what I mean? Good heavy pinch of salt, and then 10 turns worth on the pepper mill. Parchment line, the baking sheet that just helps easy cleanup. And a cool thing about this parchment paper too is that you could toss it in the compost if it doesn't have too much oil on it. Oil's not good in compost because it can go rancid. Is really the only purpose of that.
The last thing to go on the tray are those garlic cloves. I'm keeping the outer paper layer on, that way they get protected from being baked off in the oven and they won't burn.
The salt's gonna help pull out some of that natural flavor that all these ingredients have. The onions are nice and sweet. I find that jalapenos have a nice floralness to them, which I love. And then tomatillos are just amazing all on its own, and then they could just get their flavor highlighted from the salt. Same thing with black pepper too. It really pulls flavor out of food, you know what I mean? So these are going to get baked off in the oven, set to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and let it go for 35 to 40 minutes, somewhere around there. You just really want the ingredients to be nice and soft. I mean, cooking times are obviously going to vary, so just kind of keep an eye on it. You know, we might have to go more, we might have to go less. As far as toasting off the cumin, I'm just putting it in a glass dish like this. It's not very much cumin, so it's not going to take very long. Cumin goes from 0 to burned really quickly, so just keep an eye on it. It's really only going to take like 3 to maybe even 5 minutes, if that. You know it'll be ready when it becomes nice and fragrant. You're not really getting any color out of it, you're just livening it up a little bit more. Wow, that makes a huge difference. That became nice and fragrant. You know it's ready when you could actually start smelling it. Just don't let it get burned. Alright, so I actually ended up going about 45 minutes on this. You know, cooking times will vary, just kind of depends on how good your oven is and all that kind of stuff. Keep an eye on it after about 30 minutes. You just want everything to be nice and soft, especially the garlic, because I think that the garlic's going to take the longest. You just grab the garlic and squish it. If it feels soft, then, you know, obviously you're good to go with that. The onions, everything feels nice and soft, so I'm going to let it cool down just enough so I can handle the garlic and peel its papers off, and then chuck them in the blender and blend it up. I'm not worried about removing seeds or anything because I'm going to end up straining the sauce out later. I like smoother sauces, but if you don't want to strain it, then cut the peppers in half, remove the seeds, right? Let's be smart and use some tongs. It already smells good. All the ingredients roasting together really gives everything a nice flavor.
Before tossing the bell pepper into the blender, I'm cutting the stem end off.
I love the smell of roasted garlic. It smells so good. What do you think? Pretty good? Yeah.
It's spicy.
The roasting the garlic takes a little bit of the spice out of it.
As soon as the garlic cloves are cooled down enough to handle, go ahead and remove that outer paper layer.
This is the most tedious part of the whole thing, but damn it, it's worth it. Go in with 1 cup of white distilled vinegar. Really just want to have enough liquid to cover it by half. Essentially, that's about it. Cumin that we toasted a little bit earlier is going to go in. Might have to add a little bit of salt and pepper to it, but I'm going to wait to blend it up and then give it a taste. See how it's going from there.
Blend up all the ingredients for about 30 seconds until everything is fully broken down.
It's probably one of the easiest sauces that I make too. It's really just unmanaged time. Whew. Wow, that smells good. Well, let's taste it, see how it is. It has a pretty nice amount of heat to it for jalapenos, you know? That's good. It's nice and sweet. I like how much vinegar is in there. That's kind of quite perfect. It definitely needs a little bit more salt to kind of help pull all those flavors together, because there's definitely a lot going on in that. And the salt just helps, you know, kind of combine it all together, you know what I mean? I like black pepper, which I tend to go pretty heavy on that. Go in with a half of a cup of water for now. That's not gonna really dilute the flavor too much. We're just thinning it out a little bit.
I like having smooth sauces, so I'm going to strain this through a fine mesh strainer. Obviously I have a mixing bowl to cast the sauce with. Using a small ladle, I'm lightly pressing the sauce through the fine mesh strainer, and what is left behind is the pulp. Give the sauce a final taste and adjust, seasoning as necessary. Add more salt, add more freshly cracked black pepper as desired. The sauce consistency is all up to personal preference at this point. If you want it a little bit more thin, then go ahead and add some vinegar and a little bit more water.
So once this cools down to room temperature, I'll check the pH on it with a digital pH meter. I got this on Amazon, so I'll make sure to leave a link in the description for you if you want to grab one. It's a very, very useful tool to have in the kitchen. If you want to make sure that the sauces are safe to store for a prolonged period of time, then you definitely want to get a pH meter. I'm looking for anything less than 4.6, but normally my sauces sit around 3.4 to 3.7 on the pH, which is just perfect right there.
I really want to emphasize that checking the pH on the sauce is best done when it is room temperature. This sauce sat around 3.9, which I'm pretty satisfied with that level. If you wanted to make it more acidic, add a little bit more vinegar. However, that will change the flavor profile ever so slightly. I like to store all my sauces in mason jars, but if you have hot sauce bottles, that works awesome too. This will stay good in the refrigerator for about 4 to 5 months. I don't know how long it'll actually last because I have always consumed it within about a month or two. I threw together a really quick breakfast taco to try this sauce out with: scrambled eggs, leftover sirloin from the night before, cheese, and of course the sauce. That recipe card that you're seeing on the screen is also a great companion with sauce. Give that a watch, and I will see you there.